Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. In today's video, I'll share a real life story, a case of a 33-year-old guy who has built a corpus of almost 7 crores with sheer discipline and hard work. Now he is an audience member and he approached me to discuss his financial journey, his goals, and to see if he can make any improvements and do anything better. I found his story extremely inspiring and interesting. And in this video, I'll be discussing the key takeaways from his journey briefly. So the main takeaways from his journey that I could take was, first, I find his story really inspiring. It inspired me and I hope this inspires you as well, that wealth can be built starting from any place, even from the humblest of beginnings. And you don't need to be an IIM guy or a startup guy just to reach your financial independence. Second is that investment is a slow and silent journey. It is simple, but it is not easy. It takes a lot of patience and discipline. And the third takeaway is that even the best of us need someone to speak to. There is absolutely nobody who can do all the right things, and hence taking some sort of professional help or taking help of community is highly advisable. So a bit about Rahul and why he approached me. So Rahul is a 33-year-old guy. He lives in Gurgaon. He started his career in 2014 with a very humble salary of 7,000 and currently his salary post-tax is almost 4 lakh per month. While speaking, he clearly mentioned that his entire focus in last 10-12 years has been to upskill and increase his salary. He started investing since very beginning, even when the salary was on the lower side, and currently his portfolio stands close to 7 crores. And he reached out to me to discuss his financial journey, his overall portfolio, and to see if I could suggest him anything, if he could do anything better or if he is missing on anything. So this is the entire financial details, the sheet that he had built and shared with me. You can see how detailed it is. I'll not be able to speak this line by line, item by item, but you get an idea of how thorough and detailed he is with his investments. So this is the summary of his overall portfolio. As you can see, the majority of his portfolio is concentrated in real estate, where he has invested around 4 crores in 5 properties. After real estate, almost 30% of his corpus is in equity. This is distributed in stocks direct. A lot of it is invested in international markets, and some of it is invested by mutual funds. After equity, around 8% is invested in PPF, EPF, NPS and FDs, and lastly there is an emergency fund of around 25 lakh. This constitutes to around 4% of his overall portfolio. Now, although his portfolio is very impressive and very inspiring as well, if I had to point out a couple of things that I recommended to him, they were first to increase his allocation in mutual funds, then to have some sort of allocation to debt or fixed income as well. It could be bonds or it could be debt mutual fund. I felt that the allocation to emergency fund and FDs was slightly on the higher side and it could be invested smartly as well. And lastly, because there is absolutely no gold in his portfolio, I recommended him to have some sort of gold in his portfolio as well. Apart from the recommendations, there were a couple of things from his portfolio, from his financial journey that stood out for me, and I'd like to share them as well. So the first was that he invests in stocks for the long term. He shared that he has never really sold any stock. So that is a really good attitude when you are investing in equity. Second, he only invests in the top 25 or 30 large cap companies. That saves him a lot of time from research. His method is just to keep a watch of 25-30 biggest companies, and whenever any of them is cheap, he just buys them. That's all. Third thing that cheered me up a lot was that he believes in frugal living. Despite being in a position where he can spend on a lot of luxury items and luxury experiences, he and his family prefer to live frugally on rent, on a 30-35,000 rent in Gurgaon. Just simple living that does the job. And the last point that perhaps impressed me the most was that he was very clear in his mind around the goals that he wanted to achieve via his financial independence or financial wealth. This is something that all advisors, all professionals suggest. It is something that I have never been able to do, and it just shows better understanding and planning of how you do things. For example, he was very clear that he wants to have one international family trip where he does not have to think about the expenses. So all these things were very inspiring, and I thought that he has planned his financial journey very beautifully, and I just wanted to share it because a lot of other community members have also been reaching out to me. I never expected this to happen, but they have been reaching out to discuss their financial planning and just to check how they can plan their overall financial investments better. Which brings me to another very important point of this video: the need to speak about finances. A very interesting thing came up while we were discussing that he has never shared this with anybody, even in his extended family or his friends or anybody in his professional network, because we live in a kind of society where it is almost stigmatized to talk about money and wealth, and that leads to a lot of bad information and misinformation circulating around in our circles. So there is lack of information, which leads us to usually make misinformed decisions, and they kind of keep on compounding until we realize that things are extremely messy. Hence, one thing that I recommend to everybody who reaches out to me is speak to as many professionals as possible. Do not invest with them if you are not comfortable, but speaking with professionals gives you a better perspective, a balanced perspective, and also opens up a lot of things that are possible. And lastly, based on a lot of feedback from the audience members and community members who have been reaching out, I'm planning to make a community where investors like Rahul and so many others who have reached out can, pitch in their ideas, their problems, and people who have had similar experiences can perhaps help the other ones out. For example, PMS fund has been one of the most popular topics around which community members have reached out to me. This is very surprising and promising at the same time. I never expected that PMS funds would have this kind of popularity and this kind of interest from the audience members. In fact, one of the members reached out who had invested in 2 PMS funds. He is very happy with one fund and not very happy with the other fund. So he exited that one and invested half of his money in mutual funds. So all this just emphasizes the need to speak around finances more, so that we can simply avoid the basic mistakes that we tend to make and keep learning about finances, because they go a long way. So that's it for today's video. If you have any question around my financial journey, please feel free to ask. If you'd like to join the community that we are planning to build, please post a comment. That will help us understand how many people would be interested. Stay healthy, take care of yourself. Have a good one.